Hello everyone, welcome to Sapnet EDU. So today we are going to discuss about how we can apply some validation in the ASP.NET MVC project. So we'll discuss about some validation like required field validation, email validation, and the phone number validation. So in the last section, we have created one .NET MVC project. So I am taking the same project here. Let me open the Visual Studio. Okay, so let me run this project first. So here, let me run this student create class. Okay. So here we have not defined this name, email, phone number, date of birth, state, city as a required field. If you click on the create button, so this is not giving error for the name, email, state and the city. So what we will do, we'll apply validation on this name, email, state and the city. To implement this validation, you need to define some class here. So here, if you go to the existing class that was created by that EDMX file, that is basically student.data.cs, and if you open this, so here you got some message. This code was auto-generated from a template. Manual changes to this file may cause unexpected behavior. Okay, so we'll go and create one new class that basically same as a student data class. For that, to keep the video short, I have already created one class. If you can see here, I have created student data model.cs class. So if you want to create one extra class here in the model section, so go right click on it, add, and then class. Give the class name here and click on the add button. In the same way, I have created this student data model class, and I have copied all the data field from here, and I have pasted it here. To make the field required, what I will do, I will apply one attribute by this attribute here. When you will apply this required attribute here, then you need to add this namespace. And for the regular expression for the email, you can find it from any blog or here on the C# corner. So here in this, so here we got some other kind of validation like the range, required field validation, regular expression, comment section as well. So you'll get this URL in the description of this video as well. So for the phone number, here I have applied the regular expression. I will mention the same in the description of this video as well. Okay, so in the same way, we have created this student data model class. Now what you have to do, you have to apply this class, like you have to attach this class with your view. So to do that, you have to go in the controller section, and here you can inside the create action method. So here in the create action method, if you see here, then this view is basically tightly coupled with this create view, and if you go to this student create CSHTML page, so here you can see that this model is basically binded with the student data. So um, to change it, you have to first supply this class from the controller side. To do that, we need to pass the student data model from here. To pass the student data model, we need to create an object of the student data model, basically object new student data model, and we'll pass this object here. And what we have to do in the student data section, because we are passing this student model, so we will expect the post method should receive the same model. So we'll define here the student data model. So once you will change it, because in the DB side we have this student data only, so you have to cast this student data model into student data. To do that, you have to create one new method that basically cast all of the field of the student data model into student data. So to do that, we need to add one more extra class here. So I have already added this class here. The class name is basically toViewModel. So in this class, what I have done, I have taken this student data model as a parameter, and we are returning the student data from the here. So we have created one new object of this student data model and returning the same object from here. In this student data model, we are assigning all the value from the student data model. So we are taking all the value of this model and assigning it into the student data model. That basically belongs to the database, SQL database. Okay. To call this method, what we have to create an object of this class. So we'll go here. So here I'll create one new private object of the same class. So we'll use this object to call that method. So we'll go here and we'll call toStudent method here, and what we need to pass? We need to pass student data model that we have received from the form side, CSHTML page. So we will get this student data model after submission of the form, and the data exists in this student model. We have transferred this data, or basically assigned this data to this student data. Okay, first we'll go and run this project. Okay, we got this error because we have not changed that. On the view side we have not changed anything. So here we need to make it student data model, because we are passing the student data model from the controller. Now let me run this project. So when you click on the create button, then all the required field get appeared, that this field is required, this field is required, this is required, and this city is required. Okay, when you enter some data here, then this message will go from here. Now in the email field side, whenever you have entered something, then the message is changed. Now it's asking for please enter correct email. So when you apply this @gmail.com, then this message will get disappeared. In the same thing will happen for phone number, right? So it will asking for not a valid phone number. Now it's the valid one. The state and the city. Again asking for not a valid phone number. Let me recreate it. Okay, so now we have saved the second record. So here we receive student data model whenever we have submit the form. So this student data model needs to be casted into student data because because at the DB level this student data should accept only the student type of the class. So basically what we have to do, so we have to cast this student data model into student data class that was created by the ADMX file. So for that we have created one method inside this toViewModel class, and we have called this method from here. If you go here in this method, so here what we are doing, we are just taking the data from this student data model that we have received from the forms, and we are assigning this data to the student data class and returning the same object. So here through this line we get student data object with the assigned value. And okay, so the same things we need to do for the edit as well, because we have done this for create post and create get. So here we have passed the blank, but for the edit, if you go to the edit method here what we are doing, we are fetching the data based on the ID from the database. So here we are first finding this data from on the behalf of ID, but we can't pass student data because this student data class do not have any type of the validation. So instead of passing student data here, we need to pass the student data model. To do that, what do we need to do? We need to create one object of the student data model here. So I'll create one object of this, and in this object we have to assign the value from this object. So for that we need to create one more method in the toViewModel. I will just copy this method here, and what I will do, I will take it, I will just reverse it. So I will make it student data model, and in the parameter I will take student data, and I will also return the student data model object. Okay, so we need to call this method from the student controller. So here what we will do, we will do toViewModel dot. Okay, also we need to change the name of this method, because here what we are doing, we are converting this into the data model. So what we will give the name to student data. Okay, so this methods need to be called from controller. So to view model dot to student data model, and it will accept the object of student data. So I'll pass it here, and here we got this student data model. So from student data we have converted it into the student data model, and now we'll pass this here. Okay, and the same thing for the post we need to do, that we have done for create post. So here, instead of this student data, we will make it student data model, and here what we need to do, to view model dot to student, and we need to pass student data here. Okay, okay. The next thing what we have to do, because we are passing this student data model instead of student data to all of the view, like for create and for edit, so we need to change this also at the view level. So here I will go to the create HTML page, and I will change it to student data model, and inside edit.cshtml I'll also make it student data model. Okay, now let me run this project. I'll click on the run button. Let me maximize it, and I will navigate to student controller. So just click on the edit button to any of the data, and here try to remove this email address. So when you click on the save button, so this message should be for the required field, but here we are getting this incorrect email address. So I think there will be some space problem. So let me resolve it. So what I will do, close it here, go to view model. Here it could have some extra space because we are assigning the value from student data model to the student class, and here we are doing the same thing. So we need to remove that extra space from here. For that we use one method that is basically trim. So what it will do, it will remove the extra space if it have. So phone number is integer type, so it only works for string type of data. So we'll do for email also. Date of birth is date time, for city state. Okay, now save it and click on the run button. Now try to do the same thing. Now it should work. So let me remove this email address and click on the. So now it's giving the message that email field is required. So now if you put here any string like SSD, so the message is changed. Please enter the correct email address. So now I will write gmail.com. So the message was gone, and click on the save button. So this email field got updated. So that's it for today's session. Thank you.